and I want you guys to do an experiment at home. Sometimes they just don't make sense, guys, and you just have to go with it. Christmas plant over here that I haven't put away, and it's not a real plant. But hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ingrid, and this is Ingrid Reads a Lot. For today's video, I am going to do a giving authors a second chance. And we're going to start with 3 authors. The first one that I have already read the book I wanted to read is Riley Sager. Second author will be Silvia Moreno Garcia, which I am planning to read Silver Nitrate. And then the third author is Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I'm going to read One True Loves. I have 2 of the books I need for this video, and one being The Only One Left, which I have already read by Riley Sager. The other one is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. The only book I don't already own is Silver Nitrate by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and that's because it's not out yet. It comes out July 28th, and we are currently, today's date is July 11th. I'm going to talk about The Only One Left by Riley Sager, but first, a little backstory. I own one of Riley Sager's books. I honestly thought I had more. Alright, so I have read Final Girls. I've read Home Before Dark, which is this one that I already own, and I've read Lock Every Door. I enjoyed one out of those 3 books. I enjoyed this one, Home Before Dark. It was spooky and horror, and I loved everything about it. This is about kind of like a haunted house thriller. Final Girls was definitely not my favorite. I did not like the main character and the backstory behind that book. And then Lock Every Door is sort of, this lady is down on her luck, and she sees an ad about staying in someone's apartment when she has no money left. She's kind of like, oh, this is too good to be true, but I'm gonna do it. Like, yes, it's too good to be true. But she still goes, and some stuff happens. Yeah, and you find out what the twist is, which I thought was very unrealistic, so I didn't enjoy that as much. So then I decided to read The Only One Left by Riley Sager because I have read a lot of positive reviews of that book, and a lot of people on Goodreads were saying, this is my favorite book by him, blah, blah, blah. So I read it. This one is about a home health aide. Her name is Kit. Something happens in her life where she kind of gets stuck with going to this house to be a home health aide that she doesn't want to go. The person she has to take care of, her name is Lenora, and she is accused of killing her entire family back in 1929. This book is set in the 90s. You follow Kit going to this house. One thing that Riley Sager does really well is settings. The house is like on a cliff in Maine, like facing the water, and you really do feel like you're there. And I think he does a really good job with that. You kind of follow Kit as she goes through, like, meeting the woman and kind of like scared like everybody else is of this woman. Some things have happened to Lenora where she can't move or take care of herself. The only thing she can move is her left hand, and she can't talk either. You follow Kit as she's kind of getting the backstory of what happened on that fateful night in 1929 because Lenora decides that she wants to tell Kit what really happened. This book has so many twists, and I will spare you the wait and tell you that I thoroughly loved this book, and I think it's so good. But the twist was really, like, the twists were really good. And honestly, I will say that I predicted, I think, the biggest twist in this book. And I, like, for some reason, as I was reading the book, I'm like, oh, I know what it is. And I was right. And I think some people would be discouraged by that, like, predicting the twist, but I really enjoyed it because I was like, I was right. So it makes me really happy that I could predict what happened. But then some of the other twists, I was like, no way, like, I did not see coming. So I did enjoy the fact that there's like a ton of twists, even though there's a lot, because I have read some thrillers where I feel like there's too many twists. They just didn't make sense. But I feel like in this book they did make sense. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, so Riley Sager is definitely an author that I will not discard based on this book. I still have to read One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I already own, so I'm probably going to get started on that one soon. And then Silver Nitrate by Silvia Moreno Garcia, which comes out at the end of this month. So I'll come back and check in with you guys. Hi guys, I'm here for an update on this video because I just filmed some videos and I'm now editing said videos, and I realized that I haven't updated you on another video. So I thought I would just do it at my desk and tell you guys about One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I have already read and finished last night. What to say? Let's talk about Taylor Jenkins Reid, shall we? I read Evelyn Hugo, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, a long time ago, and I absolutely fell in love. And then I read Daisy Jones and the Six, and I did not enjoy it. On par with this video, I wanted to read from authors that I didn't think that I wanted to give like a second or third chance to. So Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of them. I do have Malibu Rising up there, but I was not in the mood to read that one. And then I borrowed One True Loves from my friend from work, and I read that. I thoroughly enjoyed it, so much so that I want to pick up Malibu Rising. But I enjoyed it in the sense of like One True Loves came out in 2016, and you can definitely tell that Evelyn Hugo is a lot more polished, and the writing and the story and everything is just so much more polished. So for me, One True Loves feels like a book that the author has so much potential to grow because it came out. It's like one of her backlist books. I also found out that there's a movie, and now I want to watch the movie. But I really enjoyed it. It was like watching a soap opera. Like, the main character's name is Emma, and you find out at the very beginning of the book that she's married and that her husband has been found or has been pronounced dead because he was like on a flight to Alaska and the plane crashed and there was no survivors. You're going through it with Emma as like she's grieving this loss, and it's in the very beginning of the book I think you find out that he's not actually dead, and it's kind of like love triangle but like with an impossible outcome. It's not like a normal fantasy love triangle where like you just like this one person better. It's like the person she loved but died is back, and then she has a new love that took her years to find, and she's about to get married to this person. And so it's like very soap opera-y. And I know that's not a word, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and it makes me want to read more from the author. Another thing I really loved about this is the setting, and I'm sort of biased because it's set in Massachusetts, and then I went on a Googling spree and I found out that Taylor Jenkins Reid grew up in Acton, which is Western Mass, I think. I don't even know. Am I just taking... Yeah, it's not... Okay, so I should say it's western from where I am, because it's not like, you know, Massachusetts is kind of like long like this. It's not like all the way western, but it's like right here, and I'm near Boston. So anyway, sometimes I just don't make sense, guys, and you just have to go with it. Yeah, that's to say that this second novel, like, dude, this video is becoming so successful. I am impressed. And I just hope that Silvia Moreno Garcia, you know, make it a home run for me, because I'm really like literally about to pick up Malibu Rising because I enjoyed this book so much. And I want to watch the movie, although I was looking at the ratings and the ratings aren't so good. It's like one of those movies, you know, that's like a romance story, and I think it just doesn't do as well. But anyway, I am going to go back to my editing, and I will update you guys when I have an update to give. I'm going to give One True Loves 4 out of 5 stars because 5 stars is like Evelyn Hugo. This one has the potential, and the story was like really readable. You couldn't put it down. It's just not at that 5 stars yet, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna go. Goodbye. I'll update you guys later. Hi guys, update here. Excuse the weird angle. I hope this is okay. But I have to give you guys an update on Silver Nitrate, and I have that right here. I finished this very shiny book recently. I'm gonna put it down. And the reason I'm on my couch, if you guys are curious, is because I was editing and doing booktube stuff, and I remembered I still haven't updated you, so I thought I would put you guys on this angle, and I apologize if it's not adequate, but this is what we have. There's a Christmas plant over here that I haven't put away, and it's not a real plant, by the way. It's like one of those fake ones, so let's ignore that. But I read Silver Nitrate. I will say, so I was hoping that this video would be 3 for 3, where I loved every single one of the books that I read. That was the case, but I think that Silvia Moreno Garcia is not the author for me. I felt about Silver Nitrate the same way I felt about all her other books that I read, Mexican Gothic and Gods of Jade and Shadow, I think is the name. That is, I feel like her books try to, like, the premise always intrigues me, but the execution just doesn't work for me. Silver Nitrate, I will say, is definitely my favorite book by this author. I think that it was an amazing homage to like 50s golden era of film. After I finished the book, I went to Goodreads to see all like everybody else's reviews on this. I agree with a lot of people that the first quarter of this book, like up to I think it's like the 50 or 60 page mark, I really, really, really wanted to DNF this book because it is very, very drawn out. And you get all this information about different Mexican directors, and you get a lot of information about our main characters and what they do, and basically kind of like their background. But it is so slow. For a horror book, I feel like you have to capture your audience in the beginning of the book. Otherwise, people just get bored. And I think this goes for a lot of books, not just horror, but the sense of like creepiness or whatever just doesn't come until like halfway through the book, and then you get really into it and into this film and magic and seances and stuff, which is really cool. I did enjoy this book, but I don't think I'll be reading anything else by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I always come out of her books feeling it didn't do enough of what I wanted. For a horror about like a creepy film, it just didn't feel that creepy. Oh, I will say that I did mention on, I forget which video it was, but I was talking about how the premise of this book reminds me of a TV show, and the TV show is Archive 81. If you read this book, or if you're curious about this book, you should watch the first season of that show. Amazing. Haunted film and this whole culture of like filming and stuff. That was another plus of this book. I'm getting on a side tangent, but that was another plus of this book. The whole aspect of filming and audio and how audio moves a film, like all of that, I freaking adored, because that's one of the reasons why I like horror. Is I feel like the audio of horror movies is what moves the movie forward. And I want you guys to do an experiment at home. If you're watching a horror movie and you cover your ears, like you're not listening to the build up, at least me, I don't get scared. Like the visual of horror does not scare me. I feel like the scare factor of horror movies is all in the audio. That movie editing, audio mixing, all of that stuff is one of the reasons I love making videos on YouTube and learning more about audio. Like obviously I don't know anything, but learning about audio and moving frames and all that stuff to like elicit a reaction from your viewers. Like I feel like that stuff is amazing. And this book does have that. Like our main character is a sound editor. Yeah. All that geeky stuff, like the nerdy stuff about film, I freaking adored. And then there was another thing I didn't like about this book is the male main character, which the two... let me look. It's been a few days since I finished this. So the two main characters, Montserrat is the woman and Tristan is the guy, and they're obviously living in Mexico. Well, it's not obvious, but this book is set in Mexico in the 1990s, I believe. Tristan is an actor, and our main character Montserrat is mostly like the geeky film person. You know, they're kind of living this life. They've been best friends their entire life. I just feel like the male main character Tristan is the worst. Like he basically uses the female main character. She's his crutch, and yes, he's dealing with some trauma from his past, like his girlfriend has died and he kind of got blamed for it. He basically uses her as a crutch. She's aware of this, like where if she needs him, sometimes he's not there, but when he needs her, like she has to be there. Kind of like a toxic relationship, even though they're not in a relationship. And I just didn't enjoy this guy. I think that he wasn't a good friend. And I'm not saying that main character was perfect either, but I just think that that dynamic between the two of them was pretty crappy. Spoilers ahead, so if you're curious about this book, do not watch on. But spoilers, and I have to talk about this because it's part of the reason why I was so aggravated, is that they end up together. So after this whole ordeal with the film and magic and stuff, which was kind of cool, but after this whole ordeal and this guy treating her like kind of like crap her entire life, they end up together. They're like, oh yeah, we defeated the evil sorcerer and let's be together. And that's what I mean about feeling like her books fall short for me. Most of the book, the entirety of the book, you're doing this thing and you're like, all this crazy stuff happens. But I feel like the author tries to tie the book in a pretty little bow. And I've noticed that the same thing happened with Mexican Gothic, where the couple like ends up together or whatever. And same thing with this book. I think that it would have been much better if they stayed friends and they just kind of decided to like work on their friendship, and Tristan like sees the error of his ways, which he did a little bit in the end of the book, but like I feel like them being together just did not work for this. I feel the same way about Stephen King, and I think people joke about this, like some of his book endings are not good. I think this author is also in that category where I think she tries to end the book of like a happy ending, but it's a horror. It doesn't have to have a happy ending, and it doesn't even have to have like a satisfying ending. It's just, you know, this ordeal happened, let's deal with it. I'm going on a tangent. That's what my update on this. I read it, I enjoyed it, but it's probably going to be another 3 stars for me, which probably means I'm not going to read from this author again, because I always just end up feeling wish-washy about the books. I did not enjoy Mexican Gothic. This one I felt wish-washy, and for Gods of Jade and Shadow, I also felt wish-washy. And so, and mind you, this is my favorite book of hers so far, but I think the magic and stuff in the film magic, I think was what put it up a little bit of a notch for me. So maybe I will give this a 3.5. That's what I felt about this book. I'm gonna end this video here because it's been a long time coming. I've been filming this video for maybe the entirety of this month. I thought that this was really fun, and I'm probably gonna do it again where I attempt to read books from authors that I either read something I didn't like or read more than one thing and didn't enjoy them, so that I can give these authors a second chance and see if I am going to keep reading from them or not. So I think this video ended up pretty well, because 2 out of the 3 authors I read, I really loved the book that I read. So this was a success, I will say. But okay guys, if you enjoyed this video, leave me some comments down below. You don't necessarily have to say anything crazy, just tell me hi. I'm excited to meet new people and see who is watching my videos. If you just want to chat down in the comments, I am here, and I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.